What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I'm feeling like 100 grand.
You are listening to Inspired Insider with your host, Dr. Jeremy Wise.
Dr. Jeremy Weiss here, founder of InspiredInsider.com, where I talk with inspirational entrepreneurs and leaders. Today is no different. I have Manon of Rouillier Agency. And Manon, before I formally introduce you, I always like to point out other episodes people should check out of the podcast. And since this is part of the Top Agency series, I did one with Todd Taskey. Todd Taskey has a Second Bite podcast. He pairs agency owners with private equity and help sell agencies, and something calls the second bite because sometimes the agencies, make more on the second bite than they do on the first because private equity buys them and then they sell again. And he just talks about the valuation space, the agency space. It was a really interesting episode. Another good one was the one with Jason Swank. I had him on twice. One talked about how he built his agencies to over 8 figures and sold it, and the second one was more, they've been buying up agencies. He also has an agency group as well. So check those out as well. More on inspiredinsider.com. And this episode is brought to you by Rise 25. Rise 25, we help businesses give to and connect to their dream relationships and partnerships. And how do we do that? We do that by helping you run your podcast. We're an easy button for a company to launch and run a podcast. We do the strategy, the accountability, and the full execution. And we call ourselves kind of the magic elves that run in the background and make it look easy for the host and the company so they can worry about the creating amazing relationships, amazing content, and most importantly, running their company, right? So for me, the number one thing in my life is relationships. I'm always looking at ways to give to my best relationships, and I found no better way over the past decade to profile the people and companies I most admire and share with the world what they're working on. So if you've thought about podcasting, you should. If you have questions, you can go to rise25.com or email us at support@rise25.com to learn more. Today, I am excited to introduce Manon Rouillier. She's founder of Rouillier, and they're a communication-based agency in Quebec City. And it's really interesting. They're very specialized. They're specialized in a couple different ways. They're specialized in the mining and manufacturing industries. They're also specialized they deal mostly, I would say, almost all with French-speaking companies. So not to say in the past I haven't dealt with English-speaking companies, but they like to stay within that niche, which is interesting. And she started her agency in 2009. She's a board member on MBI Global, which I believe is an international manufacturing company that offers a complete drilling solution. She has the women in mining chapters in Quebec. And she has a podcast, which I don't understand because I don't understand French, but most of it is in French, and it's podcast. I don't know if it's minier, but it's mining podcast. So check that out. Manon, thanks for joining me.
Yes, thanks for having me. So now everybody will know that I have a strong accent with all the French speaking.
You're fine. So just start off and tell us more about the agency and what you do.
Yeah, so Rouillier, we're based in Quebec City, but we cover the entire province of Quebec. Being in a niche like we are in a vertical market, we're mostly in the mining industry, but we cover all the stages of the mining industry. So what it means is that we have customers in exploration, which is the beginning of the cycle, up to the exploitation of the mine. And around that, there's manufacturing companies, services companies, environmental companies, IT, AI, and then we have also the juniors and the mining as customers. So we've been doing that for 15 years. The difference maybe that we have is that we're really, we sell ourselves like a marketing department for our customers. So we do the strategy to the deployment. So our customers are quite busy. They don't have a department inside the department. So we need to be quick, agile, and especially down to earth. So I like to say about Rouillier that we don't put hours building great decks, but we build great no bullshit strategy. That's our main focus that we've been working on.
So I'm going to ask the obvious question here. Why mining?
And then I say, why not? No, I was raised in Abitibi, which is up north of Quebec. It's a mining jurisdiction. Sorry. I'm a daughter of an entrepreneur. My dad was had two companies. One was in the drilling industry, so he was drilling for mining companies. And then he had another company for, it's hard for me to explain this one in English. So it's a seat with the seats. So I'm a daughter, two brothers. So my two brothers got each a company. They bought it. Nothing was for free.
From your dad.
And from my dad. And what I got was to go to university. And then I started working in Quebec, and I started working with IT manufacturing companies. And then I lost my job in my maternity leave. And my daughter was 6 months. My oldest one was 3 years old. And my husband just said, why don't you just launch yourself? Go out there and just be an entrepreneur. I know you can do it. People are already calling you for advices. So I started doing that, and I didn't know where to go. And in Quebec, like probably in Chicago and everywhere, there's agencies on every corner of the street. And it's like that here too. So I'm like, okay, I'll go niche. I'll have my industry, but I'll go niche. And something that I know about is the mining industry since I was born there. So that's how it came about. So I started working on January 2009 as a consultant, marketing communication consultant. But then on February 9th, a month later, I incorporated Rouillier, and I'm like, no, I'm not a consultant. I want to build my own business. I think it's in my blood and something I always wanted to do. So, and I wasn't scared. I was just like, okay, just go. And I had two young kids, but my husband was like pushing me to do it too. So I had all the perfect conditions to be the perfect entrepreneur.
What'd you learn from your dad?
Work hard, be passionate about what you do. My dad never had an ego, never. He was coming home at 5 p.m. for dinner. My mom was waiting, and he was talking to us about like the discovery he was making, the employees, and in the drilling industry, like during the night, you still work. Like we didn't have iPhone, obviously, and people were calling him. I don't know, walkie-talkie. Is that they were calling him during the night? Drill number 10, Marcel, are you there? Can you bring us oil? Or we're missing this. And I was listening to that my entire childhood. And my dad was just wake up, go. And he was doing it himself. And when he was building his company, most drilling companies would serve to their drillers cans of beans or soups and cans. And once in a while, my dad was like, no, I'm buying you guys steaks. Like I want to treat my employees like I want to be treated. So he's always been very, really close to his employees. And I think perhaps that stood with me. And I see my brother that bought the drilling company, and he has expanded it. Like now we have 8 companies, and he's my client. And he has the same philosophy. So I think my dad did bring us close to probably our employees now, since he was so human. And like I said, no ego at all.
Was there any part of you that saw that and go, I don't want to work 24 hours a day, 7 days a week?
And I don't. I do a 40-hour week. I'm not a crazy workaholic. I love what I do. And I think the thing is that when I take my shower and I wash my hair, I'm probably thinking of a strategy for a customer. But for me, it's not working. I'm not logging hours for that. But I mean, I'm not a crazy workaholic like people might think. So maybe I shouldn't say that, but I do a 40-hour week, and it's not a crazy pace, but I mean, everything we do though, it has to be on the target.
When you first started, it sounded like the original idea was you were going to be a consultant, and that changed. How did your services evolve over time? So you started off, obviously you were doing some consulting, and then what did you add into the mix?
Well, I was a strategist, and it's deep down inside me, even though I'm an entrepreneur now and I need to think about the vision. But I started doing strategy. That's why they were hiring me, a marketing plan, communication plan. So we were doing that. And the first person that I brought on my team was a graphic designer. because I wanted like, okay, I need to, it's okay. I write well, we do strategies well, but how can you bring the concept to life? So, and I didn't want to do freelance I wanted the person with me. It's rare that I do lots of freelance with the agency. I like to hire people and be part of our our culture. I was going to say that word in French. And so that has evolved. And then we're doing more campaigns. We do SEM, strategy. Well, our main strategy, honestly, now that I used to do 15 years ago, I just didn't know that's how it was called, but it's account-based marketing. I mean, that's how my success became. And then we started doing it for our customers. So we do communication and marketing plans, but it's all based on account-based marketing. That's how we do it. And now there's a word for it, but 15 years ago, it wasn't it. So I think that's what changed. Like the more the year passed, the more I was growing my network, and the more my network was growing. Well, I would identify target accounts. I would gather all the information. Who should I be in contact with? And never say no to an opportunity. Don't bullshit your way though, but never say no to an opportunity. So I would always put myself out there and growing more and more and more my visibility, my own visibility. And then I grew the visibility of the agency. That's where we are now. But I mean, now we need to see more Rouillier than Manon. So we're working on that so that we have like people to take over.
Well, it helps that you're in a specific niche. I mean, because you have a defined target. I've found, if someone doesn't, it's very hard to really target, because what are they targeting?
And it's hard to be a communication agency. And sometimes I ask like my other agencies here in Quebec, like, are you B2B? Are you B2C? And often they're like, well, we take what comes to us. I don't like that. Well, for myself, I don't like that. I think it's too mass marketing, and if you're niche, but it's hard though, because when you're niche like we are, when it goes down, Rouillier goes down with the market. So we've been experiencing that also. When I did start Rouillier, it was during the big downfall of the mining industry in 2008, 2009. And that's when I decided to start my company. So I guess I love the stress. And then the past 2 years has been very difficult for the industry. So we've been trying, to look a bit more forestry, manufacturing of other forms. And so we're still in the mining, like I would say, like 70% of the agency, but there's a 30% I would try to target something else so that we don't suffer as much when it goes down.
What are the challenges in that industry?
Well, in the B2B industry, the biggest challenge that we have right now is that 2 years ago, I was giving a conference at the university here, Laval University, to the communication department. And after my conference, a few of the students came to me and they're like, Madame Rouillier, you speak a lot about B2B. What does it mean? I'm like, what? They never talked to you about B2B at school? They're like, no. Oh, so I'm like, okay, that was 2 years ago. So since that, we've been sponsoring the communication department. We've been hiring, it's not hiring, but when you take students come work, stagiaires,
like an internship?
Internship. So we've been doing internships so that they know about B2B, they know about manufacturing, and it's not all about doing great campaigns for McDonald's or Coca-Cola. You can do great and amazing campaigns for a ventilation company, a plumbing company. So I'm trying to bring that. So it's been really hard for Rouillier because we've been experiencing growth. And I built the agency so that we're 25 to 30. So everything is set up, the desks are there, everything is there. Maybe not for 30, but we're recruiting people that know about the industry, the B2B industry, wanting to work for the mining industry. That's been like the biggest challenge since the 15th year of Rouillier.
So from like you were saying, there's advantages and disadvantages to niching, right? There's obviously advantages where you really target and you focus, you're an expert. If they want the expert in that industry in mining, in Quebec, you're the choice, right? You're the choice. And the disadvantage is if the industry goes down, you're kind of locked into that industry. But it sounds like one of the ways that you diversified was you didn't expand to different industries so much as I guess I would say the ecosystem. So like things within
Exactly.
the mining, so like anything that touched mining, which is kind of still niched. Would you say that's accurate?
It's still niche. Yeah. I cannot
Yeah,
get away from it.
yeah. Um, Talk about the hiring. So from a services perspective, you started off consulting, then you started at one to implement that strategy that you were doing. So that could be account-based marketing for your clients, that could be graphic design, that could be outreach, maybe paid media channels,
We
anything.
do
Yeah.
all the digital, like all of your guests probably have mentioned, but all the digital marketing, we do that. What's different is that we do a lot of traditional marketing still. So we do like a media plan and a specialized magazine. We do lots of trade shows, and we've been enjoying this branch of our services. Like we're leaving in Toronto, beginning of March is a big mining, it's more an exploration convention. It's been there for years. And we're launching a product for one of our customers. We're launching a drill, automated drill with AI and all of that. So we're building the big booth and the strategy to bring people to the booth. And what's wonderful in the mining industry is that we have beer events. So we've been organizing beer events for a few customers, and so product launch for us means a trade show. So there's at least five to eight trade shows that we do each year for our customers. So we've been everything that we ask our customers to do, if it's a trade show, if it's a booth design, if it's a podcast, if it's anything, we've been doing it ourselves so that we can really more be there for our customer and have the experience to tell them what to do. So that's been so we do have the traditional and the digital part of our strategy, but that's what it is with the account-based marketing. I mean, you need the traditional aspect because LinkedIn, like the strategy is really, really based on LinkedIn. So when you're on LinkedIn, you need to think it's traditional. It's one-on-one. You talk. You need to access other people of the company. You need to have an appointment, and that's traditional.
So what else would be traditional? So magazines, trade shows, anything else in the traditional realm?
We do a lot. We've started to do again radio, maybe on Spotify more, but we've been doing radio for employer branding for our customers, and that's been working quite a lot. With everything that's happening with digital and the social media, we still rise in radio. So we're like, whoa, okay, so let's try to go back to radio. We did that 10 years ago, and I think we stopped for our customers to do it. So now we do it a bit more. So, and for big campaigns, like we don't pretend to know everything as an agency. So for really big campaigns that we need to do more B2C, we do hire like Media Alliance that we've been working with in Montreal, but they help us build like TV commercials and stuff like that.
Do you ever use or utilize direct mail with clients?
We do.
Yeah.
We
What do you do?
We have a campaign now. We're doing a mass campaign. It's more invitation wise. So we're sending. It's a mining company that needs. They're doing a public consulting during the night. They're asking the public to come, and they want to tell. Here's what we'll be doing in the next 3 years. So for that, we need, because there's people from 80 years old, 50 years old, and there's youngsters. So we need to address everybody. We need to be transparent. We need to tell about the activities and what's going on. So we will be doing mass mailing to invite those people to come to the audience, the public audience, that's how it's called. So we've been doing that a bit. A lot of newsletter strategies for our customers. That's been quite helpful also for our customers, and like about trade shows, I didn't mention it. So yeah,
I'm trying to visualize what this looks like, and like let's talk about a beer event, for example. Okay, who are they inviting? Who do they want to come? Like who's like what type of company is it, and who do they want to come to this beer event?
let's say the drilling company, they build drill. They're manufacturing companies for drills. So what they want the drilling companies to come to their beer event, and they want the geologists working on for the mining industry, the geologists that will so they want the people working close to the drilling companies to come, so that the word's out there that there's a new technology, there's a new drill out there, that you don't have to have two drillers anymore. Just one will be okay. It's safer than before, and all of that. So during the beer event, so they invite all of these people to the trade show. But the mining industry is so close that you give a beer to the communication girl that wants a beer in the booth, because the communication girl probably knows this and this and that. I mean, it's everybody knows everybody in this industry. So doing a beer event, yes, it's based on invitation, newsletter, and we put it on social media, and we do this VIP strategy. But in the end of the day, for people who are listening, you can show up to a beer event and they'll give you the beer.
There's a word of mouth, though.
Then we do the lead retrieval. So it's like a gun, So we do the lead retrieval. So everybody that comes to the beer event, we gather the information. So
you like scan their badges or however it works.
Yeah. And then we put in our MailChimp, and then the company grows its list that way. What
is the best you find methods for follow up after one of these trade shows?
LinkedIn. Each time, even for myself, each time it was nice seeing you. Like right now, like I'm just gonna I'll just go backward a bit. The best follow-up method, yes, it's LinkedIn, but the best entry, it's not an entry, but prior to the show, it's also LinkedIn. And when we talk about account-based, right now, what Rouillier has done, we do it for our customers, but I'll talk about myself. I targeted in Toronto all the Quebec companies that are dealing for the mining industry. So I've been in contact with all of these companies. And then in a week from now, I'll just send them an email. Hey, are you there? Are you in the booth? I'm going to stop by. Just want to present you this 15-year agency that's been working nonstop for the mining industry. So I'm just going to, and then we'll drop there. We have a small gift for our 15th year in the industry. So we'll just drop by the booth and we'll do an interview, because we have a podcast also. So we'll do an interview. We'll just share everything on our podcast, on the mining podcast. So it gives us visibility. And then when we go to the booth, people realize, okay, I've seen her on Women in Mining, or I've seen her on LinkedIn. And so it all builds up from there. So afterwards, after a trade show or a follow-up method, well, then I use the same one with LinkedIn, and I just try to get a small time on Zoom or with the person. So once I'm in, it's rare that I'm out.
What type of small gifts do you like to give, or any gifting things throughout the years that you've used?
Well, right now what we're doing is that the gifts that we do mostly for our customers is that we bring them out for dinner. We put our money into a great meal, great wine. We talk, and that's been our Christmas gift for everybody. So every time we get a chance, and since we're so much of I'm going to write because I'm going to forget. It goes quickly in my head. Once we do find ourselves, as I know it's a weird word, but ecosystem. We are an ecosystem for the mining industry, because we don't take any competitors as customers. So we do have everybody. So when we do an event,
so it's exclusive. So like if you take on a type of drill company, you're not taking on another drill company specifically.
Well, if he only gives me 20,000, I'll take another one. But I mean, up to a certain amount, no. It's they're exclusive. So when we do an event, an happy hour, or we launched our new branding 2 years ago. So we invited all of our customers, but they're everywhere from the province of Quebec. So it's hard to gather our customers. So there was a big mining event in Quebec City. So we did this. We had like between 80 to 100 customers, but everybody was making business by them, like together. Sure. So that was like, that's my purpose. That was great. That was an amazing event. And our customers saw the value that we added. It's not just the communication plan that we're building. We're putting you guys in connection together. There's no price for that. So that's our gift for that's mostly like when we do these events and all of that. But this year, our gift that we'll be giving in Toronto in 3 weeks, it's seeds because it's our 15th year anniversary. Seeds that we plant. So we're going to give that with a sentence on it so that we're planting a seed. We're planting a seed like as an agency, but we're planting a seed to grow together and to bring your business elsewhere. And we're there for the growth of our customers. So we're planting seeds. So we're ordering that today. The strategy, this new object.
Do you do that client dinner every year, or was it just because there was a conference? How do you manage that?
We did it like all of them together. That happened 2 years ago, and we're doing it in June again this year. There's 2 events in Quebec at the same time, and we're doing it and it's quite we're gathering everybody, and I'm doing it it's an old boys club, a private place in Quebec, and I find it very it's a clash with who I am and women in mining that I represent, and I'm like, let's do it there and show that it's okay, diversity, inclusion, we're all there. So we're inviting all our males because all most of my customers are male since that's the industry. So we're doing that. It's a scoop, like nobody knows yet, but we're doing that on June 4th of this year. So I think that since it's our specialty, we'll keep doing it maybe every 2 years, but it's so much money and people are not paying to come. So it's like, what, maybe I'm going to have for $10,000. So is it worth? Would it bring the money at the end?
We've done a lot of those type of dinners in the past too. And they're magical, like you said, because they create connections. Do you ever get sponsors? I mean, we've gotten sponsors for them before. I don't know if you've ever gotten sponsors, which helps offset the cost because that's expensive, right? I mean, and usually it's like a steak or whatever people buy, and there's alcohol involved. So I don't know. What are ways that you've considered offsetting the cost? Because it is significant.
It is significant, but it's such a game differentiator that perhaps if I want to keep doing it, I think we need to convert it to an event, a subscription, something that people like pay there to be there, and it's you pay to meet like high management of mining companies and high management of manufacturing companies. So I think it's worth something, but I haven't thought of the proper way to do it.
Right. Maybe we'll brainstorm after this.
Yeah. Or maybe the listeners will bring me ideas.
Give her any ideas you have. There was one, and I don't know if it was one you were referring to, but maybe there's a product launch for the drilling company and some of the things you did around the product launch for it.
Yeah, we've been doing we had to find the name of the drill because there's a lot of drills. So this one is specific since it's automated. So we need to find the name of the drill. There was a branding because they have drills, but they also have consumables, and the consumables, they have a branding for it too. So we do have this corporate company, but afterwards we had to build the branding for the product lines. So that's one of the lines that we're launching in Toronto. So we had to do that. Now we're working on the personas just to make sure that, because since it's automated and there's AI, there's a new way that we have to speak to our customers. So we've been doing our key messages for that. We're doing the landing page. And then, like I said, the beer van and the guys in the booth will have like targeted meetings, private meetings. So I'm trying to book them a schedule. They will have like 10 meetings per day, and there's rooms upstairs where they can go meet privately their customers. So we'll try to manage that for them. So that's why I say, like, we're an agency, we're there for the strategy, but we're so down, like we're so agile and we're really there. And if they need anything they need when we're there, I mean, we're part of the team. We are their department. So
You're the outsourced marketing department, essentially.
Yeah.
You'll forgive me if I'm pronouncing it, but Siona, what did you do for them?
Siona Mining, what we did is that they're based in an Australian company, but I mean, they do have a branch here up north, and they do lithium. So we've been working for them at least for the past 5 years. And one thing that we noticed is that the population, so it's not B2B, but it's B2C also, but the population is not the province of Quebec. Even I'm not sure, also in the United States, but where is the lithium coming from and why it's good and why we need it in North America and not China? There's a difference in quality. There's a difference even in the environmental issues. The lithium coming here, let's say for Tesla, or it's coming from China, the boats and all this pollution. If we build it here in Quebec and we have employment in Quebec and everything is done here, well, people, if are aware of that, they'll know why we're building lithium mines. So our campaign was it's not like that. It's saying in French, but it's the lithium from here. That's the campaign that we launched for them. So it's been going around for the past year and a half now.
What are some of the uses
of lithium? Well, the cars.
The batteries.
Lithium, the batteries.
Is that the major use that it's for, or what other
it
things?
Is.
Yeah.
Everything is specific. I wouldn't pronounce myself, but I mean the battery is the main thing with there's lithium, but there's other minerals also in the battery. So it's not only the spodumene and lithium. There's
I don't know if it was lithium, but like because we're producing so many, of a lot of goods, whatever, electronics or cars, whatever, are they worried there's going to be shortages of this in the future?
Of course. And the shortage will also come that we're not able to exploit the land as much anymore because the government is not giving access to everything. Like there's protected zones. It's okay. I mean, we need that. But I mean, if we do have the government that's telling that in 2030, everybody needs to be green and this and that, carbon zero, something like that, carbon neutral.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's still going to come from the mining industry. And if we keep doing like a cell phones and computers and
the vision,
glasses,
the AR goggles.
It's all coming from the mining industry. So if we don't know about that, how can we be proud to have the mining industry in our province when it's an economic driver? And in Australia, they know that. In Australia, they say if the mining industry is going well, the economy of Australia is going well. It's in the culture. They know about that. But here in Quebec, in Canada, I'm sure it's in North America, but it's not the same. Like the population is not seeing the same thing, perhaps because of what the past and I mean they're dragging their past with them. Perhaps that's what it is. But I mean it's not the same energy, let's say, than Australia, for example. So as a communication agency, well, we try to bring this information to the public. We try to that's the reason why I started the mining podcast. Our customers are not keen on communication strategies. It's not their business. And sometimes we see information out there in the media. We see wrong information and misperceptions, but nobody's stepping up because they don't want to. They're scared that they'll be framed or, okay, they're speaking, but they're not also bringing success stories to the communities, and they're not. So I thought, well, the mining podcast, that's what I'll do for them. So I'm trying to talk to entrepreneurs. I'm trying to talk to leaders or projects or new invention or AI or stuff like that that's going to bring the industry elsewhere. I started the podcast so that I could bring them to light.
Love it.
I'm going everywhere, right, with this interview?
Yeah, no, this is great. Let's talk about the evolution of hiring and staff for a second, because so it starts off you, all right? You're a consultant, then you're like, I need to do more services. So you hire a graphic designer. What were some of the important positions that you hired for in the evolution of the company?
Communication. We did, the second hiring I did was a communication, to build the communication plan, because I realized I wasn't able to do them myself anymore. So I started communication, and then I hired 2 person in communication. And then the 4th person I hired was a social media gestionnaire, social media person. So that was and then we hired 2, and then we hired 3. So now we're up to 16, 20 at the end of the year. We'll be 20 at the end of the year, but now we're 16. Like I mentioned, we wanted to be 25, but I think that's maybe in 2 years, not now. Been too hard. But so we did, the positions were filled more in the communication field. And then I needed strategists, but I needed hands-on, because that's what we offer to our customers. We do your strategy, but we're hands-on also. You don't need to worry about anything. So we wanted people to write well, to do the newsletter. So it was really, really, really marketing. And then I started thinking, okay, there's something missing. Like, who does the analysis, the market analysis? And who does the personas and the product launches? So I'm like, okay, marketing is taking a space with our customers, and we need more marketing people to work at Rouillier Agency. So then we started more to develop the marketing aspect of the communication. So the way we see it is that we start with the marketing aspect, mostly for our customers, and then we drill down communication, and then we go afterwards to the deployment.
And then pricing. When you first launch your agency, how do you figure out or think about what to charge at the time?
It's still something that I always question myself about, like, what is it worth to be that niche in the market? And are my customers willing to pay? And what's been hurting probably us is that we're so visible and people know us so well in the province for this niche that I'm thinking they're thinking, oh my God, I won't go with Rouillier. They're probably so expensive. I'm sure that's what they're, and we're not. We're middle. So the way I was building my price was the way I was myself when I was hiring agencies. So I'm like, okay, could like 4,500. I think that's logic because I have this many hours logged in. And at the beginning, I wasn't doing hourly fees as much as a package. So I had packages. But then that's the worst when you start doing packages and you don't know the market, how they're going to react. So I started doing packages and then realizing, okay, each package I'm missing at least 30 hours, but they're sold for a year. So that like we're launching a new service coming up, and like a market watch. Like we think that's for our customers like a great market watch. But then we're selling it to everybody, but we haven't tested it. How long will it take? And so that's why I'm always scared to go with the package pricing. But at the same time, when you do hourly fee and your customer knows about your hourly fee and he's like, you want to take 50 hours for that? No. You can do it in 30 hours. So, there's a balance between the two.
What's the market watch? How is that going to work?
We've been connecting to, like, obviously Google News, Google Alerts, but we want to go a bit deeper with the most mining companies. They have blog. So we want to go with the blog and say, okay, if they're talking about this new invention or if they're talking about this new policy and environment, we need to be up to date to that. So we've been connecting to these blogs, also what the market is saying, but also if we do have a company in ventilation, for example, and there's a new policy that's in the United States, well, we'll bring that to them. So we're trying to build a market watch that it's not PR oriented as much, because we're not a PR firm, by the way, we're a communications firm. So I don't want to take this, it's not a PR as much as, again, I'm coming back with my account-based marketing, but what we do is that we feed this market watch to our customer. And we're like, hey, Paul, this is a great news. You should just put it on your LinkedIn profile. I'm not good, because we do the LinkedIn for our customers, but the company page. And for the past year, I'm like, we're doing a great job, a good job, but not a great job. What we need is we need to enter into the individual accounts of our customers, and then will be an amazing job. And we've been doing that for let's say the past year. And every time we swing an article or something that the customer does himself, but we wrote it from him, we sent him the link, we even did the image, if there's an image that needs to be done. And they're like, oh my God, that's amazing. You did that for me. Thank you. I'm like, no, it's part of the strategy. So that's been so that's an added value again, like to be like close to our customers. So I want the Market Watch to be able for us to do that more and bring like this great news from this mining company that nobody knows about.
I'm a big fan also, of LinkedIn, as you are. What are some of the mistakes you see people and companies making when they're using LinkedIn?
Thinking that what they're saying we're interested. Because that's what I say to people, like, not because you want to say that people want to hear what you're saying. So you need to gather your data. Like there's posts that I make that I get 107 comments, but there's posts that I do, there's one comment. Big. Why? Is it because I was too personal? Was it because I was too vague? Was it because the picture wasn't great? Or we need to gather this content and analyze it, but don't analyze only what's going great. Why did it go wrong? So that's what we do with our customers. We try to analyze everything that's not why it's not to try to go viral, but if you post and nobody's reacting, well, there's something wrong with your post. So that would be my main focus.
Really analyze what you're doing and what's working and what's not.
And stop using ChatGPT for your post. We see it. It's obvious. It's the repeat. It's the first emoji at the beginning. It's the same words coming up. And you see it. A customer that goes with ChatGPT, it's like, try to do something different.
First of all, I just want to thank you, for sharing your lessons, your journey. And I have one last question before I ask it. I want to point people to Rouillier. It's ROUILLIER.ca. You can check it out. Last question is just your favorite resources. It could be business books that you've liked throughout the years. It could be a mentor and advice they've given you, or all of them. What are some of your favorite resources that you can share with us?
Mostly podcasts, because like I train a lot. So when I go training, I just pop the podcast in my ears and I listen. And I stopped listening to podcasts or reading books about my industry, and I started to focus more about being a visionary entrepreneur and all of that. And I lost track of what I was doing. So for the last year, I've been coming back with Seth Godin or Mark Polar, or I've been coming back to these people that are in my industry and listening. And your podcast, Jeremy, like yesterday, I listened to two of and I was taking notes, and they were talking about a lot about vertical markets. And I can't, Corey something.
Corey Quinn, yeah,
like,
exactly.
Corey Quinn. And I was listening to him, and I'm like, that's me. I'm doing a strategy. But that was fun. So that's for sure, Jeremy, your podcast is in my go-to in the morning when I walk.
Thank you. What other podcasts are your favorites? So you mentioned,
I quite like Mike. Do you know Mark Polar? He's a strategist. I think I had is at home as his book. It's about how is it called again? The podcast, but he talks about 2 agencies. That's his target. But I can't. I have
to check it out
now. Yeah, it's. I think it's a great for strategists that are listening. At least I think it's a great. It's Sweathead. He's from Australia, but he's based in New York now, and he's doing interviews with like S3 when they relaunch their brand, or he's talking to really strategists that are working everywhere around the world. So it's quite interesting just to do. They give advice on how to do a great launch, yeah. I've been that's been my main go-to these past few weeks.
I love it. Everyone, check out Rouillier, Rouillier.ca, and Manon, I want to be the first one to thank you. Thanks for sharing everything, and we'll see everyone next time.
Thank you.
What I got, you can't buy. It resides between my eyes. Walked through the fire, came out better on the other side. See, life's like a beach if you find the sand. And right now, I'm feeling like $100 grand.